Hey everyone, it is Evan here from the Trade Risk on Wednesday, September 26th. We are intraday right now, and this is our weekly trade ideas video where we bring you about a half a dozen or so names from our watch list, stocks that are holding up well, showing relative strength, and are not yet extended, not yet racing away, and hopefully are still actionable and can fit your strategy. As always, these videos are powered by our partners over at Investors Business Daily. You can find links in the description of this video to get access to their stock lists. Now, before we look at our first name here, as a reminder, we do have Fed Day. It is Fed Day. We do have the announcement on what is largely anticipated to be another rate hike, and I would assume that the market has priced in a lot of this, but we could still see some range expansion here later in this afternoon, so be aware of that. Do your own due diligence and homework and careful on any of those executions later today. So first name that we are looking at here is RXN. I might have talked about this one in the past. This comes from my watch list, but we have a nice kind of breakout retest here of this multi-month pattern. So we just recently broke out here to new highs over the past couple of weeks, and now over the past couple of days you can see we are pulling back towards this $31 breakout area, and we are getting the reaction here to see if buyers are going to step in on this retest. So I think this pattern kind of fits nicely for all of you who like to look for those pullback trades, look for that low risk entry. I think RXN is a good candidate here. It is in the industrial sector. Next up, we have GOOS. This is one that we've surely tracked here for multiple months. This one is breaking out today. This is a 7.5% move. So this is a very timely sort of actionable name that is moving today. If we look at a weekly chart here of Canada Goose, you can see this one surged higher throughout the month of June and July, mostly June in fact, and then it's really gone sideways here, hasn't done a whole lot in terms of performance since the big run up in June, but it looks like it's trying to get its act together. It's trying to move back up towards these recent highs here and continue this trend to the upside. Longer term, I mean, it's still kind of in this sideways consolidation, would need to start clearing through some of these pivots at 65 and then up here at 60, almost $69. So it is not yet broken out cleanly from those two pivots above us, but certainly a nice high volume move today here for GOOS, something to pay attention to on a strong performing stock. Next up is BA. So this is Boeing here, and this one has gotten some eyes on it, but really when we look at this weekly time frame, it is pretty beautiful consolidation going on here after a multi-year run to the upside. It is trading just under its all-time highs. It is inching up back towards the ultimate highs here that it made back in June, and this pattern here, if we look particularly on a monthly chart, you can see just how clean this is and how pent-up demand has sort of remained here for Boeing. This is one that has really consolidated through time rather than a steep pullback through price, and this is one again that we could be watching if it starts clearing above this recent pivot here around 375 or so. Finally, for my watch list is a financial name, Citigroup. We had a lot of financials. Let me derail here quickly, but we had a lot of financials setting up with the XLF breaking out late last week. But if you notice here on this breakout, we have retraced a good amount of it, almost entire move from last Wednesday, the 19th, when it had that high volume breakout. So a lot of these financials have been giving some back, have been retesting these breakout levels, aren't quite holding up or retesting those levels now. Citigroup is probably one of the banks that are large banks anyway that are holding up well. You can see here again, I'm not really a pattern. I don't consider myself to be a pattern trader, but you got a bit of a inverted sort of head and shoulders here that has manifested over the past 5 or 6 months. And we can see here, if we go back down to that daily chart, we still have this breakout level around $73. That was the move last Wednesday that we're still above. So this is a much cleaner kind of pullback retest of this pretty important support and level here, and bulls are still holding onto it to the upside. MACD remains very firm up here at highs, not giving anything back. So momentum is kind of staying in check here. We're holding above key levels. I think Citigroup is an interesting name if you're looking at those financials. Finally, our last two names here, these do come both from IBD's list. The first is ULTA, ULTA. This one here again is one that is holding up well. It broke out recently, had a strong surge at the right at the tail end of August into the beginning of September as it launched above this $260 level. You can see the consolidation so far is nice and high and tight, and we're starting to get a little bit of a reaction here at the lows that we made back on Monday the 17th of this month. So we get a nice high tight consolidation, something to pay attention to. We're at the lower end of this range. I think if you're a dip buyer, if you're looking for those retests of the lower end of these ranges on these high tight consolidations, I think this is an interesting play here, or an interesting entry point. Finally, we have NANO. So this again comes from IBD's list, and this one falls a little bit outside of my wheelhouse of what I usually trade, but I still think it's an interesting setup. It's down approximately 23-24% over the past couple of weeks, but we notice here if we look at this weekly chart, we're still well above, we're still holding on to the majority of the gains here that we broke out and made throughout the month of May of this year, and we are back to the lows from June and July. So we had this kind of a steep pullback here, and we are finding some support. Price has stalled a bit at these June-July lows. If you are interested in this name, either from a position trading standpoint or longer term swing, you're looking to jump onto support or look to see if this support holds, I'd pay attention to this $35, $36 area. Maybe you get a retracement trade back up into this range. I think it could be interesting, especially if you're looking at a slightly longer time frame there. So that is what I got. That's 5 names that we're paying attention to this week. Again, pay attention to the Fed announcement. Make sure you don't have those orders in and you see price quickly jumping around if we do get a meaningful reaction later this afternoon. And as always, double check, do the homework on all of these setups. So thanks so much as always for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.